just a little mad.
There's a little bit of madness in all of us, and maybe that contributes to the people's creativity and their musical skills and their abilities all round.
Just because I laugh a little louder, you know, they go, oh, I'm manic or something like that, which is quite funny.
I'm mad. I'm mad and I'm proud of being mad. I'm happy to be mad.
I'm just a little mad, just a little mad. I'm just a little mad. You talk away.
Welcome to Take It From Us on Planet FM 104.6, your mental health access radio program. I'm Sheldon Brown, your host on Take It From Us for the next hour. Stress is my downfall, really, and that's the thing that I have to monitor all the time. So now my attitude is if it's not fun, then I don't do it. And if it's going to be stressful, then I know that I'm going to pay a price for that stress. Take It From Us is brought to you every Tuesday at 12:30 and provides a voice for those suffering mental distress. Today's guest is Tui Torua, best described as a mental health personality. Tui is Framework's newly appointed project manager and consumer leader. Kia ora, Tui.
I was first hospitalised in 1977, and it was in Carrington Hospital at the time. I'm not sure if I really understood what on earth was going on. I actually think that if you look back at my mental health, I think that I actually was suffering from postnatal depression. And nobody knew at that time how to deal with that. And then it just continued to get worse.
All them crazy people.
Becoming a mental health patient was not something I'd planned to do.
All them crazy people.
I don't really want to go to a psychiatric service. I'd never heard anything good about these places, and I'd never met anyone who'd been there and come out to tell this story.
Well, my first experience of mental illness was in 1984. Some of the experiences around that first episode were hallucinations and delusions, where I was believing that a whole lot of people were trying to kill me.
It's like inside of me there's two kind of warring factions. There's the depressed, the self-hate person, because boy, when I get cracking, I can send myself messages in my head where I hate myself. Got the bipolar blues from my head down to my shoes. And yet on the other hand, there's this woman inside me who wears pretty gowns and sings songs and is an actress and can write poetry and is arty and creative and loves life and loves people and just wants to be herself.
Arana is a musician and writer who became involved in the mental health sector some years ago after his own experiences with mental illness.
It started for me with stress, and stress in the workplace and stress at home, working long hours, had a couple of jobs. I was working as a beekeeper at the time. Some rats had formed a colony. When I discovered them there, I kind of hit them on the head and, you know, just try to get rid of them. And but there were quite a few of them. And I think what happened when I look back on it is that I found that really sort of traumatic or difficult. I was having nightmares about these rats, and I could hear them, and they weren't there. And I didn't realise myself that it was the beginning of psychosis.
But I think the penny has sort of finally dropped for me in terms of depression and anxiety, and that is that it's up to me to monitor myself and maintain a balance. My depression was diagnosed when I was about 35. Hourly rate consulting, which I've done for 30 odd years, has been a very stressful experience for me. I could be at work one day and by 7 o'clock in the morning I might be in Ward 10 at Auckland Hospital.
We call it a psychotic, a delusional thought structure. I started believing these rats were in me somehow, inside my skin, and I started getting this idea that they were everywhere. I think the most terrifying time, terror would be the word, when I sort of looked at my skin one time and I thought it was bursting forth with this rat fur, So it really got it quite advanced, and that was the time when mental health services got involved.
It's an even bigger fall, I guess, when you find yourself in hospital without work, your self-employment's gone down the tubes, and you wonder, well, how am I going to ever get back to be useful?
I put myself under a lot of stress. In a business I was operating as an accountant in Titirangi, West Auckland. I was getting myself worked up about a particular issue in the practice, and that was the trigger. And I think looking back over 20 years ago now, my body was actually responding to the situation I was in. 3 years later, I had another episode where the same sorts of experiences happened, delusions and hallucinations. And it was after that second episode that I was prescribed lithium, and I've basically stayed on lithium for 19 years.
I was 18 and I was at the University of Waikato. I was starting to do a social science degree because I wanted to be a town planner. I had real ambition to do well when I went to university. I was getting very stressed with the subjects I was taking. I was taking all the wrong subjects. And I just woke up one morning at Bryant Hall and the tears came tumbling out of my face and I couldn't stop crying. I went to a Dr. Pugmire at Hamilton Hospital and he put me on nortriptyline, which was an antidepressant, and loads of pills, and I had a bit of counselling. And our dad got me a job at the local dairy factory where he was general manager. I just got very unhappy. I used to dance a lot because I love dancing, I love singing, and I'd stay out, about 3 or 4 nights a week dancing. And then I started to get manic. I started to get very delusional ideas, and I used to think things were going on with the dairy industry and stuff like that, so I had my first manic attack.
You think you got it all.
I use everything that is Māori as part of my tools of recovery. My medication is just one part. Going home to Waitangi is another. Being able to sing is another. Being able to karakia, being able to pick up my reo. Those are all important components of my mental well-being.
People with quite disabling, serious labels, like schizophrenia, for example, are equally as valuable and valid as people and can make a full recovery.
Now I'm 110% fully functional, playing better tennis than I've ever done in my life, and I think relating better. Recovery is always round the corner.
Arena's Hearing Voices workshop is designed to make hearing voices less stigmatised and more acceptable in society.
What we're trying to do here is to make it a safe place to talk about voices and to look at different ways of experiencing what it might be like to hear voices. What we're about today is hearing voices that are distressing. It's a simulated training course. A lot of people will say, you don't know what my life's like until you give it a go. So we use these MP3 players to simulate what it's like to hear voices that are distressing, negative voices. But we put it in a context of training, in a context of let's see what this is like for us and how do we respond, and then we can look at other ways to help people. With something like a label like schizophrenia, for example. Now that is a medical term, but it's not a helpful term. This word is saturated with negative stereotypes. And so I like to let everybody know that, I've had that and it was quite bad, but I'm recovered now.
I'm not shy now about talking about it. I can't be shy because I'm well known at my tennis club, and people saw me disappear for 11 months. But those people have all been very supportive, and that's a very positive thing.
I'm just a little mad.
Best way of talking about this in a positive light is using humour, using personal experience. We run a thing called Mad Pride, celebrating difference. I think a lot of our problems in New Zealand is that it's not easy to be different.
Gaining acceptance and having a laugh about one's madness, you know, just relaxes people. They can see that you're okay.